Farcaster 101 is an educational series brought to you by GM Farcaster in partnership with Snickerdoodle, building off of their State of Farcaster report, which you can access at Snickerdoodle.com. This 12-part series introduces all aspects of the Farcaster ecosystem and helps you get started building your social graph and brand on Farcaster. GM Farcaster, and welcome back to Farcaster 101. This is Module 4, and we're going to talk about creating frames within Farcaster in a number of different ways, from the very simple of just sharing a link to the more complex using things like Nanar Frame Studio or really diving into the development options. So let's get started here. Very excited to dive in, and we are going to talk about reviewing some frames and what they are, and then what are frames created with links, creating no-code frames, and the frame development guide. And just as a reminder, so if you've just found us and this is your first video that you're like, I have no idea what's going on, you're really going to be a little lost. So step back to Module 3 at least, if you're just wanting to learn about frames and you're familiar with Farcaster. If you are brand new to Farcaster and have no idea what this is, please go back to Modules 1 and 2 and get a little bit better foundation before diving in. So Farcaster frames are a way to build interactive apps that run directly in a Farcaster social feed that they can be used to create rich in-feed experiences for web applications. And we're going to demonstrate a few of those and how you create them right now. So we're going to start from very simple frames from links. So for some of the applications that have developed and integrated frames, you can take a link from their website, drop it into Farcaster, share it there, and it magically becomes a frame. I like to say magically because I'm the less technical of the two of us.
It is magic.
So what's really happening if you can add a little bit of the technical background, what's really happening there, Adrienne, behind the scenes with the Open Graph protocol?
It's a link on MashiCam of your photo. In the header tag of the HTML page, there's just a little bit of instructions that tell Farcaster what to show in those buttons on the bottom. So it tells you that first button is for minting and what should happen when you click it. The second button, view on Moshi, and what URL to go to. So it is just kind of instructions for computers to know what to display.
So essentially, when you're looking at this, it's going to allow you to mint within this frame, and you can click further down. And this particular frame will allow you to mint with warps. So if you go back to, I think it was our first or second or both modules, we talked about warps as one of the in-app currencies that can be used within Farcaster. It is the currency that was created by the Merkle team to be used only within Warpcast, and it does not change in value. It has no speculative value and has various use cases, one of being minting NFTs or things like MoshiCam. So you can mint directly in this little frame, as well as if you go back to the original frame, you can also view this on MoshiCam and go right into their app if you prefer that viewing experience. And then that would allow you to see other ones by Adrienne or create your own Moshi, etc. So it does have other options you can play around with. All right, moving back over here. So this is a very simple way to create a frame. You're going to go into Moshi, create your picture. You're adding it with this kind of fun frame around it, border around it, maybe adding some stickers, taking that link and just dropping it in. And then in the background, all these magical things are happening. So a lot of fun. We love MoshiCam. Go check it out.
MoshiCam, and it's way more fun than just sharing a picture. So you can just upload a picture in your cast, but by doing it on MoshiCam, you can make it look really cool, and then you make it mintable, and people on Farcaster love to collect and mint NFTs.
So if you were at an event, for example, there was a bunch of you all together, you can post this and everyone could mint it and save it to their own wallets, and for a very minimal fee. So I think it's 50 or 60 warps, which is like basically 30 cents, I think is where it ends up. And then we go into other types of NFT minting that's available. So Zora.co and other NFT creation sites like Manifold.xyz and Highlight.xyz are also compatible sites that have optimized for frames. So you can cast a link that will drop a frame in your cast, allowing for minting directly in your feed. So for GM Farcaster, for example, we put everything, all of our episodes on Zora. So if you collect this, it will actually be the video of that particular episode that we did earlier today, and you can mint it right within your feed. So I'm going to have Adrian demonstrate that. And Adrian, what does it look like what kind of transaction, et cetera, comes up when you're minting on within a frame?
Yeah, so this is the link to our episode, and again, it's just all you have to do is cast the link to using the Zora URL, and it gets displayed as a frame. And there's two buttons available: a mint button or view on Zora. So if I click mint, it will pull up a little transaction preview
Mm-hmm.
and simulation, and it'll say, we'll be sending 0.000, maybe one more zero, 11 ETH. That's about
Yeah.
30 cents. And I'll receive a mint back. So I can continue in wallet, and just like crypto transactions, it's going to be still something I manage within my wallet directly.
That's a really useful way to be able to mint an NFT right on Warpcast. It does go into your wallet, whatever wallet that you mint that to, automatically. Automagically. I think I'm going to say automagically. But you can also then just link back out to the site if you prefer, if that is more comfortable for you. But you can see that simulated transaction to make sure that you are safely using your wallet within the frame. Okay, so moving on to some things that have a little bit more beef to them. Composer actions. So Adrian, composer actions are a little different because what you're doing is starting with a cast, and you're then using a button to then create a frame in that cast automatically, and maybe even completing some information to get that ready. So Adrian, I'm going to let you take it from here and show us what it's like to use the composer action and create an event using event.xyz's composer action.
Let's do it.
So back to you. All right, so let me add you back up here. If you're ready,
all right, so
take it away.
So you are seeing my Warpcast screen. I'm going to click cast. And there is a little icon of 4 little squares. This is the composer actions. It's going to bring up a screen, and you're going to see there are a whole bunch of different actions I can choose from. This is, like we covered in our last module, just different ways for you to be creating content within your cast. For this one, we're going to choose Event Caster, and this is going to let me create an event that I can share with people. So Event Caster, and I'm going to create an event. So Nounish Prof and I host weekly office hours, open office hours for the Farcaster 101 series. People can come into our webinar and you can ask us questions, and we will give you one-on-one advice. So let's create our first one, Farcaster 101 office hours. We're going to do it on Wednesday. It's going to be 4 p.m.
Correct. Make sure it's ET. I have made that mistake often.
Our link to join is our StreamYard link. And
everything looks pretty good.
We're going to
You can change the image.
Farcaster 101. And and we can play around with the appearance, and we can change different styles for it. We like nouns. And that's it. To get started, I'm going to hit save. If you've noticed, I haven't typed anything or casted anything, and it creates a frame for me. So I can cast this right now, and that will go out to my followers.
Fantastic. So there you go. It's like magic. And there's a few other composer actions that are available as well. And Adrian, if you can pull up another one, just open up a new cast and just show maybe Bounty Caster, just so that we can demonstrate and give a look to one more of these composer actions. Fantastic.
There we go. So these are different types of awards that you can pay out your bounty in. So let's make a real bounty. We wanted
on the fly. Bounties on the fly. What do you want to do today?
Deadline optional in 2 weeks.
How about feedback for our Farcaster 101 series? Maybe give a little like best feedback award. Maybe it's like, I don't know, $1 per feedback post that's substantive, or maybe $5, up to you.
Okay. $1 USD for
you can tell we did not rehearse this part. Coming up with this on the fly, but I love it.
How about $5 USDC for giving us feedback on a recent GM Farcaster episode?
Perfect.
With specific critiques on what we can improve on.
Tell us what's good, too. You don't
no, let's just critique.
I don't have to add that. That's fine. I love it. So do we want to limit this to like 10 or something?
Yeah, let's
10
say
best or something like that.
How about limit to
one per person.
5 entries.
Sure. All right.
Something like that.
You can also use the Bounty Bot. You can sort of call to Bounty Bot and just tag them in a cast, and they will create the bounty for you as well. So another little magic piece of Farcaster, which I find very fun.
Yeah, and actually in this example, this didn't actually create a frame. So this is a Bounty Bot. It's a composer action, but it just helps you create your cast.
Right. Correct. So a little different.
But you can get the idea that there are many ways to use these Lego pieces to create rich content within Farcaster.
Exactly. So composer actions being one of them. All right. So let's head back over here. And so that was composer actions. We also have mini apps. So we can launch mini apps as well from frames. And there's a couple ways to do this. And one example of this is Paragraph. So I'm going to sort of demonstrate how you do that. Within Paragraph.xyz, you can use this blogging and newsletter site to write up a blog post, and then just take the link to the post, and you'll see it's pretty dynamic platform. We added in all of our videos. You can watch them right within that site. For this particular week, we do a weekly roundup of all the things. You can subscribe right here and collect. So everything's on that site. And then we're going to take the link, drop it in, just copy it, paste it into a cast, and it's going to look like this. So I can add a little bit to my cast to kind of introduce what it is I'm sharing. And then you can click on read, and it's going to open up the reading experience for you, which will look very similar to the site, but stay within the frame of Warpcast. So you can go ahead and read that, experience everything dynamically right there, same as you would on the site. And as you scroll down, you'll see again the all the information that we just saw on the site as well. Okay, so that's another very simple way to create a frame that you might be doing anyway. So if you have a brand and you're doing some kind of newsletter or blog posting on Paragraph anyway, this is a really nice feature to be able to drop it in and make it very accessible to those who are reading it on Warpcast. All right. And we also have some more fun mini apps. So that's kind of our informational mini app. And then we have the fun game mini apps. So right now, two that have been developed by Matthew Fox is Flappy Caster, similar to Flappy Bird, and also a trivia game, which actually goes live at certain times. And you get to play live with a video feed with a host, and it is a lot of fun, similar to HQ Trivia. So for Flappy Caster, you can actually drop the link to flappycaster.com, and it will create a frame for you to play. So you can do that, or if you're on mobile and you go to the Explore tab on mobile, you will see it right there and you can just launch it on your phone. But if you're on desktop or on web, you can go to the website and then just drop it in a frame to play within Warpcast. So Adrian had already done this earlier. If I click play now, it's going to launch the game. You'll see it's now logged me in. I didn't have to log in. I'm right there because I was already logged in to Warpcast. So this is part of the social graph that we've talked about before. This is the leaderboard. You can see the leaderboard on here, and you're going to be able to see the Farcaster usernames. So you could go and sort of have a little bit of a rivalry with somebody, maybe challenge them, something like that. You can see all of that. And then you'll see I am horrible at this game. You can also share it, and it will create a frame where you're sharing the game itself, and then you can actually play the game. So here we go. This is going to be horrible. I'm going to warn you right now. I am awful. See, there we go. At least it was quick. You can share your score, and it will create a frame for you to share your score should you actually be proud of your score. I just scored 0 points. We will not share that cast. But you get the idea. And what the reason we're sharing this with you is not just because it's something fun you can do on Warpcast, but it may give you some ideas of other games or experiences that you want to create for your brand or other ideas that you may have. So that is Flappycaster. Okay, and moving on, uh, if you want to create something a little more customized, not just grabbing a link and dropping it in or using a composer action that's already been created for you, which are sort of the simple experiences, you can create a no-code frame using Naynar's Frame Studio. And super easy to do, even for those who are not too technically inclined. So in other words, if I can create it, you can. And this is what was used for the State of Farcaster frame by Snickerdoodle. So we showed this in the last module, but I'm just going to review it again to give you an idea of sort of what this looked like in case you don't remember. This was a simple way of sharing some of the data from their State of Farcaster 2024 report. And as you scroll through, you see a lot of the really interesting statistics like user growth, cast activity, cast frequency, all of these really interesting stats. The popular chains that are in use on Farcaster and Base have been growing together, I would say. And Base has been very supportive of the builders within the Farcaster ecosystem. So you see a lot of activity on Base, but other chains as well. And you can see the tokens that are held by unique holders, lots of different cryptocurrency there, demographics, and other information there. And then, as we showed before, you can download the report. It will link you out to their website, or share it, which will create a new cast for you to share the report with your followers. So this is the type of thing that you could create yourselves using the Nanar Frame Studio. And the way I know that it came from the Nanar Frame Studio is this link down below. So below the frame, you will see sort of the source of that frame. And in this case, it's frames.nanar.com. And we're going to take a look at the Nanar Frame Studio. There is a fee to use this. So it is fairly low. You can get started for $4 a month if this is something you want to dive into. And like I said, you don't need a huge amount of technical background to be able to do this. And it will show it has a lot of different options here. There's also a cast action, a composer action, to create a very basic photo frame. So that's already built in, and that is free on Warpcast. But this gives you a lot more options, turning any web page into a frame, slideshows. Again, that's already built into the composer actions. Frameception, so that means a frame within a frame. Remixing frames, so if there are frames that are open source, you can take what somebody's already done and remix it for your purposes, so you're not starting from scratch. Built-in image compression, mint with warps, analytics, and you never have to touch a line of code. So here's a few examples of some other frames that people have built, as well as the one we just showed you. And you can learn more here, as well as lots of documentation and assistance here. Also, the team is very helpful. So if you are interested in diving in more, they are very accessible and able to help. And if you see up this top right here, where it says /NFS, that's going to bring you to, it should bring you to, I believe, the channel NFS, which is Nanar Frame Studio on Warpcast. And lastly, let me also show you, if you really want to dive in, if you really want to develop something from scratch, you have a unique idea that doesn't fit into Nanar Frame Studio or one of these other options, this is where you want to start. You want to go to the Farcaster docs, so that's docs.farcaster.xyz developers/frames. And this is really going to walk you through all of the technical aspects of frames and help you get started. So this is if you have a much bigger idea in mind, this is where you want to go. It will walk you through how to do this, how to test it, how to deploy it, and all the different specifications regarding frames. Anything you want to add here in terms of frames in terms of the technical side, Adrian?
I think the only thing I'll add is just a heads up on who Nanar is, or how Nanar fits into the Farcaster ecosystem. Nanar is a separate company, and they're a Farcaster infrastructure focused company. So where within Farcaster, any developer has access to the full social graph, all of the hubs, all of the data. So if you're a developer, you don't need to ask permission. You can get right into and get all of the kind of the back end data of Farcaster. However, Nanar is a company that provides all sorts of infrastructure that if you want a little bit of a head start. So if you there's APIs and a lot of dev tooling. So Nanar does a lot of dev tooling for Farcaster. So if you're looking to build on top of Farcaster, definitely check them out. They will help you kind of speed run a lot of what you're doing. And so I just wanted to
Great
point that out on who they
Yeah.
are. But I think we
covered it. Yeah.
covered it.
So I think that is it for frames, for sort of the background, which we did in Module 3, and creating frames in Module 4. And next, we'll be diving into Farcaster culture and all that entails. And that'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be for Modules 5 and 6. We'll be diving in more into that. And I'm sure you'll be seeing lots of frames in relation to that once again. So the reason we had frames sort of as our next, modules 3 and 4, right after we sort of did our introduction and got you started onto Farcaster, was because it plays such a large role in the culture, in everything else we do on Farcaster now. You're going to see frames popping up all over the place, and we wanted to make sure that you were familiar and understood what was going on there. And if you are a brand or even just a builder of some sort who wants to share things in a frame, we wanted to make sure you had the tools and understood everything that was available to you. And I think that's it, Adrian. Anything that I missed that you wanted to cover before we wrap module 4?
We covered it all. Just a reminder, pop into our weekly office hours. If you're watching these videos and jumping into Farcaster, make sure you come on in to our office hours so we can answer any questions you have, or tag us on Warpcast and we'll answer questions as well.
Great. And we will see you for the next one on module 5. And for now, bye-bye.